The Toronto Blue Jays have made multiple moves, including signing a starting pitcher. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss how he could factor into the Jays going forward. So stay tuned for that in this episode, as well as discuss a couple other moves they have made, which are quite interesting. As well, we have a couple major updates surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays free agency, including Alex Bregman as well as Burnes. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, folks, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Toronto Blue Jays content. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit 15K before Christmas time. So if you want to support us towards that goal, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys. About 70% of you guys who are watching right now aren't subscribed. So it would mean the world to myself and Peter if you could hit that subscribe button. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to go over today. The Jays made a signing. Is it the pitcher that everybody wanted? No, it is not Burnes. It is not Corbin Burnes. However, it is an interesting one. And bear with me now. I know a lot of fans will probably see the signing and be like, he's not going to factor in. He's not going to do anything for this team. We'll never see him. That might be true, but there is some upside here. And I was actually live on stream when they signed this guy. It is Eric Lauer. So he signed a deal with the Blue Jays, and as Mark Feinstein reported, Blue Jays and Eric Lauer have a minor league deal according to an industry source. And if he's in the majors, he'll earn an additional $2.2 million plus incentives based on starts and innings. So there's a few different things here to go over. For one, it's not Corbin Burnes. We know that. It's not a super exciting signing. And bear with me again. It's not a crazy groundbreaking signing. However, he is an interesting pitcher. And again, we broke it down on the live stream yesterday afternoon here. And it's super intriguing for a couple of reasons. One, he is a starting pitcher, and the Jays desperately need starting pitching depth. They have Bowden Francis, they have Kevin Gausman, they have Chris Bassett, José Berríos. But you look at his stats, and you can see this here from Joshua. Somewhat interesting flyer. Lauer was a solid back of the rotation arm through 2022, then had an injury-riddled 2023 minor league / KBO last year with mediocre performance. And as you look at his stats here, he was coming off of his last full professional season in the MLB in 2023 with the Brewers. He put up a 6.56 ERA in 10 games, 9 starts. Not very good. But you look at 2021 and 2022, he was a very good starter in this league. In 2021, you can see he went 7-5 of the 5 or a 3.19 ERA in 20 starts. And then the year after, he was a full-time starter. He was, mitigated that role, 3.69 ERA in 29 starts. So there is some upside here. Now, again, it's not what everyone wants to see, but we cover everything on this channel, not just the massive signings. We got to cover the smaller ones like this as well, because there is a chance that he is good going forward. And it is an absolute flyer. It is 100% a flyer. Last year, he played for the KBO, 5-ish ERA. He is injury prone for sure. However, it's interesting. He pitched 150. Like, he is 2 years removed from an extremely successful season in the major leagues in 2022. He's only 29 years old now. And if there's anyone who's going to bring back a good pitcher into the kind of spotlight here, it's going to be Pete Walker. And ultimately, I think it's possible that we see this guy either, in AAA as a relief guy, not as a relief guy, as a depth guy, or in the majors if injuries happen, if Bowden Francis doesn't come back and, pitch as well as we thought he would. So a lot of things to take out of this. And again, it's not a huge signing. I'm not proclaiming that it is a big groundbreaking signing, but it's an interesting flyer. And I'm curious to see if I know you're all fed up with Ross Atkins. You want to see them make a big move, and they still might sign Corbin Burnes and probably definitely will sign one of Teo or Anthony Santander. That being said, in the meantime, they signed Eric Lauer, and it's an interesting deal to say the least here. So it's interesting. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Again, a KBO season, middling 5 ERA last year. So hopefully he can get some of it back, but there is also a chance that he's just washed now. And again, he's not old. He's young. He was an innings eater in 2021, 2022. So a flyer signing, probably nothing too crazy. It might end up being a nothing burger, but I do think that there's a chance that at least this guy has experience in the past being a very good starter. And even in 2018 and 2019, he was very serviceable. So upside is there. We've seen it before with Blue Jays pitchers and them getting called up and actually having an impact. So let's see what happens with Eric Lauer. Something to keep an eye on at the very least here. And then something else to note is the Jays have DFA'd minor league catcher Nick Raposo. And if you remember during the season last year, we covered it. They basically claimed him off waivers in August. But I believe it was August 1st. 20 games, didn't hit the ball very well. And this is a little bit interesting because Nick Raposo, he's not a good catcher. This isn't a crazy move, but the Jays still desperately need a backup catcher. At this point, they don't have a backup catcher. Now, they did acquire one in the Jimmy Garcia trade, which is someone that they might use Jacob in next season as the backup catcher, or they might go for a guy like Tyler Heineman, who they'd have to sign as well. We saw Danny Jansen get signed, and a lot of this really good backup catchers, Travis d'Arnaud, players of that nature, have already been signed. So maybe they use, I think it's Jacob Stalls. Maybe they go for somebody else. It's interesting to see what they might do as they continue to kind of survey and see what catchers are available in the market for them. Obviously, at this point in time, they're full full focus is, of course, on Corbin Burnes and Anthony Santander. But you still have to take care of these other things. Like, people were complaining when, of course, they made the signing for Jacob Sharp. I think his name is actually Jacob Sharp is the catcher, not Jacob Stalls, Jacob Sharp, in exchange for Jimmy Garcia. But either way, whether you Jacob Sharp or not, they still need to do these other moves. Like Jimmy Garcia, that they signed him first, and then of course they made the trade for they made a trade with the Guardians. So there's a lot of different things going on. Hopefully they still make a big deal for Corbin Burnes and things like that, or bigger moves, but they still have to fill in the rest of their team. So these are I don't hate the idea of getting a decent backup catcher. But talking about Corbin Burnes now, Jim Bowden yesterday stated this morning on MLB Radio that he's confident that the Blue Jays will sign Corbin Burnes. And BK, shout out to Brandon, he had some context to this. And he added the context to this, saying Bowden and Steve Phillips were playing a prediction-style game, so this was less reporting and more of a guess. Earlier in the show, Bowden discussed Burnes and noted how he hasn't been able to verify much of the reporting that it's down to San Francisco or Toronto. Quote, Blue Jays have money to spend. If they can't get the bat they need, absolutely, I can see them sending it on Burnes. And the Boras Corp normally directs their clients to where most years/dollars are, and I believe that ends up being the Blue Jays. So just a tidbit of information. It's been pretty quiet on the Corbin Burnes front as of late. And, a big reason for that, from what we can tell, and my guess is that he obviously is from San Francisco. He's from California. He wants to go back to his hometown. He wants to play with the Giants in his hometown in California. But they are not either A, giving enough money, which we know at this moment, according to all reports, the Jays are they have the biggest offer on the table, and I think Corbin Burnes is waiting it out at this point to see if the San Francisco Giants will match Toronto Blue Jays number, which the Mets ultimately did in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Will the Giants do that? Maybe. And that's the biggest thing that is holding up this Corbin Burnes sweepstakes. I would expect him to sign today or by the end of the weekend. So, of course, if a signing comes out, we'll have you covered, whether it's the Blue Jays or the Giants, because it obviously has massive implications for both teams, but especially the Blue Jays. But it's interesting here, and I like the prediction from Jim Bowden. He's saying that he's confident the Jays will sign Burnes. And again, if the Giants don't want him, it's very interesting that, and a very possibility that that he does end up with Toronto Blue Jay. But again, it's been pretty quiet as of late. We'll keep you up to date with all those latest reports. And surrounding an Alex Bregman update that dropped late last night, it says the Blue Jays showed interest in Bregman on Monday, but doesn't list them as a strong contender to sign him. And we know tons of deals went on today. Obviously, the Yankees got Devin Williams. The Yankees are probably going to get Cody Bellinger as well. We saw the Cubs get Kyle Tucker. And now it seems that the Yankees are also all in on Alex Bregman, and the Jays aren't really big suitors for them. And maybe that's because they traded for Andres Jimenez. But, maybe it's just because, and I'm kind of, we did some polls in the live stream. No one really wants Alex Bregman on the Blue Jays. He's older, regressing a little bit. I mean, actually a good bit, middling 700 OPS last year, coming off of his worst year, and he's going to get $200+ million. So for someone who's aging and is, middling 700 OPS, I think they can do without Alex Bregman. But at the same time, I do want to see them make a move, and I do ultimately think the Blue Jays will make a move. Now, is it going to be a huge splash? I hope it's in the form of Corbin Burnes. I hope he signs later today with the Toronto Blue Jays. That's still a waiting game, but I do think they're going to get one of Santander or Teoscar Hernandez. And again, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the daily videos. We're keeping you up to date. We're grinding for you all, so make sure to hit that button. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know down below what your thoughts are on all of these moves. Again, Eric Lauer, not a huge deal. However, we could be looking at this later on in the season when he's pitching in relief or pitching as a depth starter and thinking, hey, maybe that signing did do a little bit of something. But again, once the big news drops, and as the big news drops, we'll keep you up to date with all of it. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys once again for watching. See you guys later.